in place. I hope that is the case. Good morning and welcome to hashtag Rise and Grind. I am your host, Glenn Lundy. I am a husband to one, a father to seven, and the creator of what is going to be the #1 most watched morning show in the world. It is 5:30 a.m. and I hope that you are ready to rise and grind. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you, my friend? I hope you are doing so very well. Today is Monday, July 1st, 2019. That's right, today is Monday, July 1st, 2019. And what's crazy is today is the very first and the very last time it'll ever be, Monday, July 1st, 2019. So I want to make sure we make the absolute most of this incredible day. Fair enough? Let's make the absolute most of this incredible day. Man, it's crazy. The first half of the year is gone. Can you believe it? The first half of the year is gone. Let that sit in for a second. I just knocked my camera over. Man, this thing's got a crazy mount on it. Let that sit in for a second. But the first half... Michael Cirillo, what do we do here? This thing's too heavy. The first half of the year is gone. And it's really interesting because at this time of year, something happens. Something very similar to what happens on New Year's, right? At the very beginning of the year. But at this time of the year, something happens. We tend to start to evaluate. We look back at the last half, the first half of the year, and we start to look at the second half of the year, right? We start to have some realizations. We're like, man, I had this goal at the beginning of the year and I haven't really fulfilled that. I had this thought, this idea, this concept. I thought I would be in a certain place at this point and I'm not quite there, right? If you had those conversations, or man, I couldn't even imagine that I would have had this much success in the first half of the year, right? I did really great at this, right? But we tend to evaluate, and that's what's great about midpoints. I love when we as human beings tend to give a day a title or to give a day some extra weight, because in reality, we could make these evaluations any day, right? And in reality, we can make these changes any day, right? But for some reason, there's something special about these milestones. So here we are at a milestone. We're at the first day of the second half of 2019. It's a milestone. And so it's a great time to shift gears. It's a wonderful time to shift gears. Mentally, you're already there. So being a wonderful time to shift gears, I want to give you a roadmap of kind of how to do that. And just a simple thing that I do in my life, and I suggest that you do in yours, is what I want you to do today. We've talked about it before on the show, but I want you to do today is I want you to take a look and say, okay, in the first 6 months of 2019, what did I do wrong? What did I do right? And then I want you to ask yourself, what's next? What did I do wrong? What did I do right? And what's next? I want you to ask yourself those 3 questions this morning and really start to dig into that. Because see, we can learn so much from the mistakes that we made. We can also learn so much from the successes that we had. And we always want to ask ourselves, what's next? Because there's another level. There's another gear. But before we dig into that too deep this morning, you know what we got to do. This is the part of the show where we're going to dance a little bit. We're going to dance a little bit. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, my friends, this is the part of the show where I need you to hit that share button. That's right. I need you to hit that share button. Because I believe if we could change the way, done some right, not some right. I believe if we could change the way people start their day, it'll make a massive impact on this planet. I truly believe that. And sometimes all we have to do to change the way that people start their day is to hit that share button. This is also the part of the show where I want you to say good morning to me, and I'm going to say good morning to you. Whether you're watching live or you're watching on replay, say what's up, and I'll say what's up back. That's what's going on. Hello. There we go. Could you guys even hear me that whole time? I hope you could. I was running through the wrong mic. No wonder. Hey, good morning, Carrie Lynn Carter. What's up, Jennifer Jaskell? How you doing, Sandra Benstock DeLolio? What's up, Dana Fishbein and Vicky Everett? How you doing, Nikki Budge? What's up, Nathaniel Banks? How you doing, Stephen Jones? Don Sankey, Brad Smith, George Fleming, and Tracy Shepard. That's awesome. Hey, what's up, Whitney Wells? How you doing, Angela Benters Heath and Eric Burns? Brian Olson, first day at Dan Cummins Chevrolet is today. Brian made the move. He went all in. Kill it, brother. I hope you absolutely kill it. What's up, Josh? Oh, that's what's up. What's up, Jeff Baker, Scott Holber? Everybody's up in here this morning on hashtag Rise and Grind. Tony Thorstad, what's up? Elizabeth Cohen, I love it. Woo! That makes more sense. I couldn't quite figure out what was going on with the mic. But now we're good. Ooh, Michael Cirillo. Michael helped me out big time with my sound and all kinds of other things. I'll tell you more about that here in just a little bit. Hey, in case you didn't know, today is also a really special day because Grow Your Business for God's Sake is just 6.5 weeks away. That's right. It's just 6.5 weeks away in Nashville, Tennessee. So it's time for you to get your tickets to what's going to be one of the most incredible events in the history of the world. If you don't believe me, just ask Danelle.
Hey guys, Danelle Delgado. So excited to see you at Grow Your Business for God's Sake. Because I'll tell you what, that is what changed my life, right? We have this natural inclination to ascend. That is 100% true. We were born, we roll, we crawl, we walk, we run. When we train, we can become Olympic athletes. But what I'll tell you is this, we were designed to grow, to make a difference, to make money, to monetize so that we can give back. That's what so many people miss. They're a little afraid of succeeding, a little afraid of that, but I'll tell you what, if you have a business, that is our responsibility to do, to run harder, to work harder, to create so that we can give, right? We can't keep questioning who's gonna do that, who's gonna do that. We've got to do it. So I can't wait to see you there. I'm gonna show you how to monetize like never before, run sets in 90 days that could blow your mind, hit goals, monetize your business, and let's give back together and make the ultimate difference. So grateful to be here. Can't wait to see you.
It's going to be a game changer, my friends. I need you to get your tickets to Grow Your Business for God's Sake. You can go to growforgod.com if you want to get those right now. Go right ahead. Come on back. I'll be right here. It's going to be in Nashville, Tennessee. We've got an agreement with the Courtyard Marriott in Goodlettsville, which is right next to where the event's going to be being held, where you can get hotel rooms for just $99. So this will be one of the least expensive that's not even the right word. It's just ridiculous value. The value that you're going to get out of this conference for your money is absolutely ridiculous. It's 6 weeks away. Make sure you book that. I also want to say thank you to Hunt Brothers Pizza for being a part of Grow Your Business for God's Sake. It's thanks to them and some other sponsors and the church itself that we're able to deliver massive value at a very, very, very low cost to you. Which, speaking of Hunt Brothers Pizza, what a great company. Hunt Brothers Pizza, for those of you that don't know, they're one of the largest, I think they are the largest distributor of pizza in the United States of America. They have over 3,500 retail locations nationwide, and they're growing at the pace of like 30 or 40 new locations every single month. And what's really cool about their story is the owners are right here from Paris, Kentucky, right here in Paris, Kentucky, where they started out of their house, man. Just putting together pizzas in the house. They had the pepperonis in the deep freeze in the garage. My man Josh Cummins talks about memories of hanging out in their driveway, riding bicycles, and going into the freezer and eating pepperonis. Like, they started at their house with what they had and built a massive, massive empire. It's really, really cool what they did. Their story is phenomenal. It's inspiring to me. So I sometimes, and I look at their situation and I can tell you, I know exactly what they did to get there. They did what we were talking about today. They went back each periodically and they said, okay, what did we do wrong? What did we do right? And what's next? That's the mindset. What did we do wrong? What did we do right? And what's next? And see, it's so important that you do that daily, every day. At the end of the day, you should ask yourself, what did I do wrong today? Or what could I have done better, if you prefer that question versus wrong? How could I have performed at a different level? And then you have to ask yourself, what did I do right? Because if we only focus on the negatives, we're going to get negative results. But if we focus on the positive, we can get positive results. So what did I do wrong? Great. I'm not going to do that again. What did I do right? Great. I'm going to continue to do that more often. And what's next? Such a pivotal question. What's next? I want to share a little story with you. As I analyze the last 40 years of my life, and then I begin to analyze the next 40 years of my life, I feel like initially I see two different Glens, right? There was the Glenn from the first. Really, there was the Glenn from like the first 35, that guy. Then there's the Glenn all the way up to 40. And then there's the Glenn that I see in the future. And so at first I see them as different people, right? Multiple different Glens. But in reality, as I take an even deeper look, in reality, I start to see that it's really always been the same Glenn. It's just two sides of the same coin, right? Like, for example, I have always been a dreamer. Always. I was hoping to find an article. I thought I had it here in the studio, but I couldn't find it this morning. But there's an article that they wrote on me back in high school. The newspaper came and they highlighted 5 students from the school that they felt were, inspired and were going to go far in life. And so they did an interview with me in high school, and they talked about how during the interview I interacted with all different types of people, and I was social and I was encouraging and I was high-fiving, and they discussed how my dreams and my visions, and they asked me, what did I want to be when you grow up? They said, Glenn, what do you want to be when you grow up? And my response, in quotes right there in the ad, it says, I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a millionaire. I think they were expecting something different. They were highlighting the fact that I was studying engineering. They were highlighting the fact that I had gotten a scholarship to go to Northern Arizona University to study engineering. They were highlighting the fact that I was a great writer. And I think they wanted to know what occupation I wanted to go into. But my response was simple. I want to be a millionaire. Looking back, that was such a far-fetched thought and idea, considering the way I grew up, considering the family around me. No one else in my family had reached levels like that. We were lower middle class. We got by, never went without. But I always just had this dream, this vision. Always. It's always existed in me. I've also always been a leader. There's another article, which I could not find. I thought that I had. But there's another article, and it shows me pretending to smoke a joint, right? I'm pretending to smoke a joint in 5th grade at the DARE program. And I'm standing in the front, and there's 2 guys behind me. They're pretending. And basically what had happened is, for the DARE program, they asked all the kids to put together a skit. And so I led my team, and we put together this skit, this play of other kids asking kids to use drugs, and then the kids participating in using drugs. And as I led these guys along the way on this play, our play was the one that got picked to be performed in front of the whole entire school at the assembly. I've been a leader as long as I can remember. I've loved to lead people. Through the times where I was making poor choices, people followed me. The times that I now make good choices, people follow me. So I've always been a leader. I've also always been the MC. I've never been afraid of one of these, this microphone right here. As a matter of fact, back in 7th grade, we had a tragedy at our school. A young lady, her and her friends were playing with a gun at their house after school while their parents were at work, and she accidentally got shot in the neck. Her name was Kara Thrasher. She was shot in the neck, and she was paralyzed from the neck down for the rest of her life. And when that tragedy happened, I went to Mr. Howard. I said, Mr. Howard, we need to raise money for Kara. She's a friend of mine. She's hurting. Her family is ailing. We need to support them. What can we do? And so we decided that we'd put on a talent show. We'd put on a talent show in the middle school. We'd invite everybody from the outside, and they had to pay $1 or $2, whatever it was, to be a part of the talent show. And we asked all these different people to come and to perform on the stage, and I got to be the MC. I grabbed the microphone, and I got to host it. I was like Nick Cannon or any of them boys, right, that host these talent shows. I've always been the MC. I've always loved highlighting other people's strengths. I've always loved inspiring and encouraging others. I've always loved putting people on display that are doing amazing things in the world. That's always been a part of me. Always. You see, I'm sharing these things with you today because I know that it gets hard. I understand that life gets hard. I understand that you get tired. I understand that as we hit mid-year, there are doubts that have crept in your mind. I understand now that we reach mid-year that there are areas in your life that you were hoping to transform that have not quite happened yet. I understand. And so I'm sharing these stories with you today because I want to make sure that you understand one simple truth. Yesterday, I made a post. I don't know if you saw it. You never know with Facebook. Yesterday, I made a post, and I'm going to read it to you. It's on my personal profile if you want to go check it out later. But the post goes like this. At times, I wish the world was black and white. Clearly defined lines that determined wrong from right. A world with peace and harmony where we slept like a newborn child. A world where struggles and tragedy were replaced with things more mild. And then I pause and ask myself, who am I to question his design? Isn't it true that all things work out if given the right amount of time? Is it not the truth that all the pain has been fuel for victory? That every battle lost and won has led to the triumphs we now see? Yet though I know deep down inside it all is in his plan, I still allow myself to fill with doubt the worries of a man. But those thoughts are not allowed to linger. Enemy, be gone with you today. Instead, I'll drop down on my knees and thank God for the gray. You see, times will be tough. Some days they are long. Sometimes we are weak. Sometimes we are strong. Yet through it all, one thing stands true. It's all your choice. He gave it to you. So choose and rest easy. There's no black and white. There's only those who crumble, and then there are those who fight. I wrote this yesterday because I want you to understand something. You see, your joy is in the gray. Your truth is in the gray. Your hope, your future, your destiny, it's all in the gray. See, I want you to imagine a road you've got the lines on the outside that tell you where you can and cannot go. And this road right here actually doesn't depict exactly what I want to, but you get the picture. You've got the lines on the outside that tell you where you can and cannot go. Those are the lines that are defined. Those are the black and whites. Those are the rules in your world, the structure in your businesses and in your lives. And though those rules exist, those boundaries are there to protect you. Your lives are actually lived. You actually drive in the middle. You drive down the middle, and most of these roads, they have these white dotted lines in the middle. And you get to choose. You get to choose which lane you travel in. You live in the gray. And see, this morning, what I want to make sure is that as you're choosing which lane you travel down, I want you to make sure that you understand that it's the same car that you're driving. No matter which lane you get in, it's the exact same car, no matter what lane you're in. You see, there was an engineer that made your vehicle, the vehicle that you travel in. Your body, your mind, your spirit. There was an engineer that made it specifically. He created the engine that drives you. He created it specifically for you. He molded your fenders specifically, right? Molded them specifically for you. Some of you are cars. Some of you are trucks. Some of you are SUVs. Some of you are big old limos. Each of you designed specifically by the engineer. He had something in mind. Some of you are Ferraris. Some of you are Bugattis. Some of you are Lamborghinis. Some of you are Toyota Corollas. Everybody's different. But I want you to understand that there was an engineer. And the engineer designed the engine that drives you. He designed the molding that shapes you. He tuned your transmission specifically from the get-go. He knows exactly where you're going. He knows how much torque it takes to get your wheels moving. He knows the energy that you need to get cranking. He knows what gears that you cruise in. He knows specifically. He tuned your transmission a certain way. He knows when you redline. He knows when you reach that red line, when you're like at your max. He knows this. The engineer knew this when he designed you specifically, when he designed your vehicle that you will carry on the road of life with you forever. It's not a new and it's not an old. It's always the same. It's just you choose the lane that you travel down. You see, he also knows that in your life, you are going to find the most joy when you're cruising down your lane, right? When the wind is flowing through your hair, you got your leg out the window and the sun is out. He knows that when you're cruising at that optimal speed, that's where you're going to find your joy, when you're cruising down your lane. The lane that you choose. Headed towards your destiny. And as you're cruising down your lane, it's important that we look in the rearview mirror every once in a while. We got to check. We got to take a look back. We got to check, right? It's important that we look back and remember, okay, that's where I came from. I'm not going to make that mistake again. Yeah, I remember that. But for the most part, we're going to propel our lives forward. We're going to keep looking out the windshield, that big old windshield. Every once in a while, glance in that little rear view mirror. But we're going to propel our lives forward. You see, today, God wants to move you forward. He wants you to know that you were designed for this, specifically, engineered. The struggle, the doubt, the failures, like it's all part of this gray area where you're going to find your joy, you're going to find your hope. It's all part. You just got to choose which lane. And continue to know that you get to choose the lane you're in. Only you. You see, you're always going to be the same car, but you get to choose how you drive it. I spent a big majority of my life traveling down the wrong lane. I was in the lane that had all the potholes. I was in the lane that was filled with grief and strife. I was in a lane where I didn't understand that there was an engineer, that my car was that it was tuned to drive a certain way. I didn't understand that. I understand it now, and I've shifted gears. I've shifted gears and I've passed, right? I jumped into the left lane, and now I'm just propelling forward, looking in the rearview mirror every once in a while to remind myself how far I've come. But I'm propelling forward. I've got this thing in cruise, man. I've got this thing in cruise, and that's what I want for you. That's what God wants for you, is he wants you to cruise down with one foot sticking out the window, with the wind blowing through your hair, as you're enjoying this amazing, beautiful thing called life that is filled with hope and joy and laughter and success and new levels, constantly moving and propelling you forward. That's what he wants you to know today. So as we go into the back half of 2019, as we go into this new day today, Monday, July 1st, 2019, I want you to choose your lane. Enjoy the gray. Understand that things aren't so black and white. You're going to make some mistakes along the way. But at the end of the day, just ask yourself, what did I do wrong? What did I do right? And what's next? If you need more videos like this, I want you to go to GlennLundy.com. If you need some Rise and Grind gear, you can go to GlennLundy.com. But most importantly, I want you to know that you, my friend, are a child of God. The God of the universe. He made you specifically, uniquely made. The God of the universe, the God that made everything, made you to be the absolute best version of yourself that you can possibly be. And you're already starting to do it. You're watching hashtag Rise and Grind. You're up in the Rise and Grind group. You're doing these things at work. You're waking up earlier. You're smiling as you're impacting people. All of these little things that you're doing. You're reading, you're studying, you're learning, you're shifting gears. All of these things that you're doing, I want you to know that they're making an impact. They're making an impact on your friends, on your family members, on your coworkers, and they've made a massive impact on me. And I, for one, absolutely love you for it. I do. I absolutely stinking love you. So go out there, have an incredible day today. Oh, and one thing before I let you go. My boy Michael Cirillo was here, and him and I have a new podcast that's going to be coming out soon. I want you to keep your eyes out for it. And if you're a prayer, I want you to pray for it because I think it could be really powerful. We got a new podcast coming out. I believe it's going to be called After the Grind. And this is going to be a podcast where we're going to go in depth on the shows that we did here on hashtag Rise and Grind. Michael's going to interview me. He's going to ask questions, and it's going to be an opportunity for you to submit questions like, hey, Glenn, you said this on Monday. Tell me more about that. Hey, Glenn, we talked about this on Wednesday. I need more on that. So it's going to be an opportunity for you guys to sound off, to dig in deeper into these short sessions in a long form podcast session that'll come out on Sunday. So super excited about that. If you would, drop some prayers for that. Let me know if you think that's a great idea. Hit a like, hit a heart. I think we're going to call it After the Grind. So keep your eyes out for that. It's going to be stinking awesome. Go out there and have an incredible day, a powerful day, the most amazing Monday, July 1st, 2019 you could possibly have. And I'll see you back here again tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. on hashtag Rise and Grind.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. Hashtag rise and grind. Hashtag rise and grind.